This gingerbread tree looks good enough to eat. Hi, this is Tweek. We're going to make a gingerbread tree out of wood. Join us. Supplies you'll need for this project are: you will need some 1/8 inch craft plywood, some stain and some shellac. You will need some wire, some beads, and a hook to hang it up when the project is through. So let's get started. We came up with a design to make this delicate looking, I call it a gingerbread tree because it reminds me of gingerbread cookies. So once we came up with a pattern, we started cutting them out. This is how we did that. So we've got our 6 pieces cut out and drilled, and they're ready to string with wire and beads. And I'll show you how I did that right now. So we're going to start by looping the wire. And here you'd want to, I use my Beadalon wire. All the links to our products are in the description below. And I'm going to get quite a bit of wire here. In fact, I'm not going to cut it off of the spool. I'm going to let this little guard hang on to it, because I'm not really sure until I get going how much wire I'm going to use. To make this simple as you can see, I wanted the beads to look as delicate as the cookie or as the wood does. So I'm going to choose these beads that are I'm just using simple gold and silver beads. You could do one or the other. I'm mixing up the colors and the sizes, just because I like the look of it. And then these beads, the crystal beads, I got these online as well. And they come all hooked together. So you need 8 of them per each section. And it's just a matter of pulling the little ring off. And then you have your crystal. Now it does have a hole in the top and the bottom, but overall it doesn't matter because the shine will come through and it will look perfect. So I need 8 of these. Get them set up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Spent a little bit of time pulling them off the ring, but the outcome's good here. So we've got 8 of those, and I'll pick up the beads as I go. Here we go. There's 2 holes, and I'm going to come up one of them, doesn't matter which, and I'm going to pull out quite a bit of the wire because I want to be able to string this through and add a loop. So once I come out the hole there, I'm going up the bottom to the top, and now I'm going to go back down the other hole. And this is where there's a lot of wire here. You just got to try to keep from getting it hooked onto or knotted up. So very simple. You go up one, come down the other. Now we're going to string on your beads. I'm going to go with the silver. These are just plastic beads with a covering on them and 1 crystal. And I'm just going to grab another one that happens to be gold. You could use any color bead you want. I'm going to silver and gold. I'm trying to go with the light look. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the wire and come back up through Okay. And I'm going to pull it to a certain length, and I'm going to come back down again. Now I can adjust it. That's one of the reasons why I'm leaving so much wire here, because I want to adjust. I want each little bead spot to be hanging at the same level as its neighbor. So I'm going to eyeball it right about to there and see if that's what I'm going to go with. That's what I'm going to try to get, and that's why I give myself so much wire, because now we're going to try to go as far as we can with this piece. We're just going to repeat. Add bead. Oh, I'm going with silver again. Just randomly putting a bead on either side of the crystal. Oh, that's going with a smaller silver. Okay. And now we're going to come back up. I don't think it matters so much if you go which the front or the back hole that's been drilled, but I just make sure you go up and then back down. See how the wire's starting to curl up? And let it relax so that you can push it down there without a whole lot of curling or knotting. And now you see how they're just a little bit off? So now I'm just going to push up and pull down. And don't pull too tight, because if you make a mistake, you'll get a kink in the wire. So just let it rest. I think that's pretty good. If it's a little bit off, this is homemade. It's going to look beautiful. I think that looks pretty good. We'll repeat all the way around. So here we go again. Just a little more. I've gone that far. Now I don't want to do another loop that way, because I want to be able to tie it off. So I'm going to let this sit and I'll pull more off this way. You could do one long piece of wire, but to me that just gets more crazy with it curling on itself. So I was letting the spool help me out a little bit. So now we're going to come back the other side. See how that's trying to curl up? So now, same process, I'm just working the other way. Grab a couple of beads. I've got about what I like. Okay. You might have to do a little bit of adjusting. That's a part of this. They're all sitting loosely in their spots. So I've got it. See, I've got two wires there. They're hanging out. This is when you look to see if you want to make any changes. I think this one's a little low, so I'm going to push up a little bit on the wire that goes in and then pull down. There it goes. So I'm thinking that's pretty nice. I'm going to leave that alone. Now we're going to hang on here gently and flip it over. And I'm going to make a knot, a double knot right there. Now this can get ticklish because as I make the knot, sometimes the wires pull. So try to do this gently too. I'm going to pull down. Trying to focus my pull on the top, not on the bottom. So you can see by the wires sticking up that the arches are about the same size. So I'm just using my finger to push on that knot and give, oops, see, I pulled it. I'm using this to see, okay, I pulled too tight there and your beads are getting in the way too. Let's push them over to the other side. See that knot there? So I'm going to do another one. I'm using too much wire, but I will make use of it. Recycle it, use it in another project. I'm very gently pulling because if I pull too hard, see I pulled too hard again, and I can get away with it a few times, and then the wire will start showing the marks where I pulled. So I'm going to stop right there. In fact, I'm going to add one more knot. And the knot is sitting underneath the tree, the branch, the cookie. And then to make sure, I just give it a little extra tug. I'm trying to be gentle. It seems like the 3 knots help to keep it in place. And I'm just going to cut off the excess close to that knot. It might show a little bit, not enough to make you worry about it. Flip it over, and that's pretty good. You can come around and try to adjust a little bit if you want, but you know what, the randomness, that looks pretty, doesn't it? Now let's hook the whole thing together, all 6 layers and a star. We're going to begin with the tree trunk, which means deciding which beads you'd like to use. I stuck with wooden beads, and because it's such a delicate looking tree, I wanted a delicate looking trunk, something a little thinner. So you can use smaller round beads. I think these are a 6 millimeter. You could go with something that is, squared off. They look really pretty piled up and to make a tree trunk. You could also go with a teardrop bead that happens to be wood. See? But what I found were these, and they're teardrop, but they've got a little bit of a notch in them. I want to call them barrel beads, but I'm not sure what they're called actually. And when you stack them up, they actually give me more of a feeling of a tree trunk, so I liked those. So we're going to start with the bottom, which is a bell. I'm going to take apart the bell. Of course, we'll put it back together. And since the bell came with a gold bead, I thought I'm going to use gold beads going up the trunk of the tree. So let's take this stuff out. And we have our bell and the clapper and the bead. Now we need our wire. I'm going to give myself a lot of wire again. I'm going to go that far, and again, I might not need it all, but I do recycle my wire. I tend to use too much, but I always recycle it. I never throw it out. Okay, so you've got your piece of wire. This piece is in half. Oh wow, I did get quite a bit. So in half, I've got here 16, probably about 24 inches. And what we're going to do is let it relax because it's curling up on me. Okay. You get your 2 ends here, buddy them up. Now, first thing we're going to do is put the clapper back on, the bell. So we're going to go ahead and clapper hangs. Okay. Now we're going to add the top of the bell. This is pretty simple because I'm just deconstructing it. And nice tone. And now we're going to add the gold bead. That's our start. Next comes, see? Now I'm going to refer to my product over here. It looks like we have one little tree trunk bead is what I'm going to call it. Come here. 1. And then we're going to add another gold bead. I'm sticking with the gold. It would be just fine if you mixed it up. It's going to put a little bit of shine. That's what we have so far. Yeah. Now we're going to add the cookie. We're going to take the biggest of the 6. We're going to come from the bottom and string through. And there's your start. And what's nice about this, because every level can turn. It's really, really pretty. So I think it's because the round bead is on each side of it, letting it twirl like that. Now we go, well, the bead is not on each side. You know what? The beads, let it twirl, which is the important thing. So we put 1 trunk bead, a gold bead, this is just for looks, and another trunk bead. I believe, yep, I'm going in 2s now. Let me show you. So between each level is going to be one of my trunk beads, gold bead, trunk bead. Now we're going to add the next, make sure, yep, the next biggest piece. Okay. One, two, good. I love the bell. Just one little bell to give it a little bit of music. So now we've got another trunk bead. Okay, now we're up to where the star would be. And I had one trunk bead. Okay, one trunk bead. Who wants to be the final one here? And a gold bead. And next, the most beautiful star. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to go through the star. And one more gold bead. Oh my goodness, are you pretty? Wow. And see, it swings back. There's just enough play in the wire that you'll get the motion, and with the sun hitting it, the light, it's so pretty. Now to finish it off, I needed a crimp bead. Okay, I know I have a few extra crimp beads here. I got one here that's gold. So I've got a crimp bead. And let that sit right next to the bead that's a gold bead. And then definitely going to take off some of this excess because it's a lot. There we go. Save it. Still a lot here, but I'm going to come through that crimp bead again. Go through that bead. Try to go through the star again. It's working. Good. See how it's coming out there? Pull the one wire tight so that the two gold beads are meeting up with the star. And then I'm going to adjust this loop to what size I want for it to hang. I'd like for you to match, if that's okay. There are wires. Okay, so I've got it taut. And now I'm going to crimp it. I know I'll probably crimp too hard, but I want it to stay. There we go. And then I'm going to crimp or cut this close as I can to the base of the star. And if I can, if there's enough leeway here, I'm going to tuck that little extra bit into the bead below it. Sneak that in there, and we're going to, oh my goodness, look at you. Look at how pretty. Sometimes the levels will get stuck on each other. See, like this one right here, that loop was looped in. There we go. And there you have it, our gingerbread tree. The different layers spin independently, which just brings so much more motion, and just, it's beautiful. Wait till you see it hanging in the sunlight. I just love it. So if you like what you've seen here today, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. I'd love to hear if you end up making one of these gingerbread trees for yourself. It's not made of gingerbread, but it's just as delightful. See you again.